to welcome everybody to Let's Talk Racing. Hey Al, how's it going?
If you'd like to, why don't you just do it? Why do you always say we'd like to welcome you? Just say welcome.
Okay. You're here, enjoy it.
Right, there you go.
There you go. We have Colin Brown also with us out here. How you doing tonight, Colin?
Good. Doing good.
How's your racing going?
We've been doing pretty good. Southside, we were there for their season opener a couple of weeks ago. We ended up finishing 10th. So our pride, we did pretty well. And then Shenandoah, we were out there this past Saturday. And we had one of those rough weekends. We had battery and electrical issues where we ended up missing the first practice. Then we got out there, went for a second practice and qualifying. We ended up qualifying 19th. And we had a bit of an early end our night. We were running 19th, running about pretty close with a bunch of the guys, running about mid-pack, and someone spun out going into 3 and 4, and I went high and just ended up clipping someone's right rear. I broke with the right steering arm and steering plate, and but we got it back together, and we're going to be ready for Friday. That's coming up in Richmond.
Cool.
Southside again?
Yep, Southside. I love that track.
Now they don't run next weekend because of Richmond.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they run this weekend and then next weekend.
And then we have next weekend off.
Okay.
Hey
Lamont.
Hey.
Lamont's here. My man. My computer fixer. Lamont knows more than you've ever known, Roger.
Don't even guess that.
Well, do you run
He
Langley?
still comes to me and says,
We're going to try to do Langley a few times this year.
Okay.
Maybe sometime in June we're going to try to run Langley.
Oh, okay.
Because they're only on there this year for like 8 races. And they're Langley,
All right.
so.
Did you come out for the modified race last weekend?
I was in Florida at a funeral.
Oh.
I told you that last week, but you forgot.
Hey, all old timers disease. Can I use that?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
No, I got a phone call on Tuesday that a longtime friend of mine had died in Daytona Beach. So I drove down there. First time I've ever driven to Daytona Beach in 45 years when I was not going to a race. I just drove down there. You know, it's kind of funny. I told my wife when I got home, it really felt different driving down there in May or April, knowing I wasn't going to a race, and I kept having to remind myself why I was going. But I've always either gone to Daytona or
Right.
Homestead down 95.
Yeah.
I've never gone down there for any other reason, and this time I had to kind of remind myself, well, there's not a race at Daytona, there's not a race at Homestead. But yeah, I was going last Friday. I was going last Thursday afternoon, Friday, and all day Saturday. So I heard it was a pretty good show.
Yep. Burt Myers, he blew out a tire around lap 40. Got back up in there, got racing again, and actually climbed all the way back up and actually won it.
Okay.
There was some good fighting at the front and in the middle of the pack.
Was it a 150 or a 1?
150.
Okay.
So yeah, tires are definitely going to wear out.
You have a good crowd? I mean, I have no idea.
It wasn't bad. When it started out, we were concerned because it was still a bit chilly. But by the time race time came around, there was quite a few people out there, and modifieds were the last thing to run that night.
Yeah, they put on a good show, I understand.
They did. They had a young man by the name of Charlie Brown. Apparently, somebody stole 2 campers.
I heard about that. Chuck Hall told me about that.
And Bert, he and I were talking before the race, and he told Charlie, he says, "I'm gonna win this night for you." And damn if he didn't turn around and do it.
Yeah, I think if I know the story correctly, the kid has a fairly serious medical issue.
Yeah.
And his parents bought him. I don't know if it's an actual movable trailer or whether it's just a trailer he uses as kind of a hangout, like a campsite
Right.
in his backyard. I don't know if it must actually run if somebody stole it.
Yeah.
And so they bought him another one, or they got him another one, if somebody stole it.
Goodness.
So he had 2 little playhouses on wheels that got stolen. And I understand that Langley is going to do an auction, a silent auction coming up soon to provide him a third playground, a play place, and where it will not be stolen. So, yeah, I mean, the kid, I think he was like 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah, he's a youngster.
Yeah, and I don't know how long or how serious his condition is, but I do know that a lot of people are trying to help him out. So,
yeah. Most of the day he seemed sort of down, but in Winter Circle he had one of the biggest ass smiles I ever seen on a little kid.
yeah, that's good. That's good.
So,
Yeah, Langley, through the years, they've always done things. I remember when Julie Silver Mapes, a young lady in Newport News, had a terminal cancer issue. She was a big race fan, and they did a lot of stuff for her at Langley. So they've done good things on a number of occasions like that.
is the victory section still called Julie Mapes Victory Circle?
At Langley?
Yeah.
It's named for Dale Lemons.
I mean, before that they had called it the Julie Mapes Victory.
Maybe, but I think when Dale got killed out there.
Yeah, then they changed it to there.
Yeah. So, you know.
I've actually remembered that far back. You know, that's pretty hard for me.
Yeah, because you can't remember yesterday.
What's your name?
Yeah, right.
Computer fixed win.
Brandon Godovi had a okay night in Texas. Didn't do anything spectacular.
Yeah.
Didn't screw up badly. Didn't make any great moves. But you know, when you run your first Xfinity race at a track like that, and you don't get in people's way and don't wreck anybody, it's probably a good day.
Yeah.
Remember the first time you ever raced? Were you worried about yourself, or were you worried about other people?
Probably a little bit of both.
Okay.
Probably a little bit of both. Plus, just first time getting strapped into a race car and everything with like no other racing experience. I was just thinking about a lot of other little things when I got in, kind of like, you know, the whole shifting and all that other kind of good stuff, just restarts. I was probably more nervous on restarts.
I think Brandon was as concerned about taking out, because there were a bunch of Cup drivers in that race. I mean, just tons of them, it seemed like. And I suspect he was more concerned with not messing up somebody else's night.
Like someone else.
You don't want to wreck Junior. You don't want to wreck Denny Hamlin. You don't want to wreck, you don't want to beat anybody or wreck anybody. And to get known as the young kid that ran his first Xfinity race and wrecked a bunch of people. So he had a good night. I don't know. He's not running at Bristol this weekend. We've got somebody else in the car. Kerry Earnhardt, I think.
Jeff Earnhardt.
Jeff?
Oh, good.
Yeah, Jeff Earnhardt.
Okay, he's in the car.
Yeah.
And next weekend, the weekend that the Cup teams are in Richmond, Brandon is going to be in Mazda Raceway at Laguna Seca, California, doing a road race in a Lamborghini race car of all things.
We'd like to do that.
I'd like a Lambo.
I'm not sure I'd do that, but anyway,
It would be fun.
it's funny, he may be, he's run, obviously K&N, he's obviously run modified, he's run modifieds, he's run legend cars, he's run late models, he's now run, probably had a truck race somewhere along the way. I know he's got an Xfinity start, so he will have raced in almost, 8 or 9 different type series.
He's getting to be his own little Tony Stewart.
Yeah, and he's only 22 or 3 years old, maybe.
Yeah.
Not much more than that. So
He's getting a lot of experience out there, and it was nice that because he raced enough K&N races, they qualified him, let him race the mile and a half.
yeah. What do you think Jimmy Johnson's win at Texas means? Anyway, what do you think it means?
48 cars dominant again.
Well,
dominant.
the 2 races he's won this year, where were they? Do you remember?
I remember he won. I know he won last week, and he won it at Atlanta.
Right.
Mile and a half.
What kind of tracks are they?
Mile and a half.
Absolutely.
Cookie cutter mile and a half.
I would not
So
bet
they got,
against him
got a
at
strong
Charlotte.
mile and a half.
I wouldn't have bet against him at Charlotte. I wouldn't bet against him in Kentucky. I wouldn't bet against him anywhere where there's a mile and a half. Because right now he seems to be
pretty dominant.
They've
pretty
got it
good on
under
those
control.
tracks.
Somebody's got it under control.
Yeah.
And we know who the race car engineer is.
I might not vote against Harvick anywhere else, but on 1.5-mile tracks, I think Jimmy's probably got a pretty good handle on it right now. And they said all along that the new aero package, the new type of horsepower and spoiler and all that stuff would play right into his hands. That's exactly the way he likes a race car. So, you know, you'll see how he does at Charlotte in the 2 races there, and then in October again. Darlington, he'll run well at Darlington. He'll run well at Michigan again.
He always has good cars in Michigan.
Yeah. I would not bet against Johnson. Now that I've seen what he can do early, I think maybe he and Harvick, maybe my Carl Edwards prediction may not play out very well.
What are you thinking about Bristol? What do you think? Who do you think?
That's such a crapshoot. I don't know.
It's just hard to tell who's going to win there.
Yeah, Harvick runs well there. Harvick runs well at Bristol. Runs well at Phoenix.
Edwards won there last year.
Edwards won there last year.
Yeah.
But I don't. That's.
What's your quick thoughts on the finish up on Texas? Well, we got about 2 minutes left.
Do what now?
What's your thoughts on Texas? The finish up on the race.
Well, I think Jimmy Johnson won.
But,
And he ran very well.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously, you know, he got a great restart toward the end, and I think he forced Harvick to maybe run harder than he wanted to, because he damn near hit the wall one time, and then did hit it the second time. And I think when Junior got around Harvick for second, that pretty much opened the door for Jimmy to ride on out of there.
How about the Harvick and Logano, their incident there, the final few laps when Harvick gave Logano the old boot?
Yeah, they're not done. They'll be back at each other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, O'Donnell said something about the blocking. Who else? Somebody else in the news that they got their fines reduced. One of the race teams.
Was it 31 team?
No.
I don't know.
Poop.
Did you notice that the 44 team was not there? The Extreme Motorsports team was not there.
I don't look for them. So
Well, but after having
people may be looking for them.
After having his car stolen in Atlanta, and then after having a little bit of an issue with the New Jersey legal system, and after skipping Martinsville and saying we're going to save our stuff for Texas and the big tracks, we're not going to run Martinsville. They didn't even go to Texas, so that team may be done. I don't know that anybody would be terribly surprised if they were done.
Just shut down.
Now they did run Daytona. They ran pretty well, and that gentleman did pay a lot of money to get a backup car delivered to Daytona in time for the 500.
I'm sure they made the money back up there with the 500 Pearce.
Yeah.
I'm sure they made it back up.
Yeah. Yeah, that race, if you don't screw up at Daytona, if you finish anywhere, if you just start this silly thing, you make a lot of money.
Just go out there and run the first 20 laps and then pull down, you're good to go.
Save tires, save engines, save,
Avoid the big wreck.
Yeah. So who we got tonight, Raj?
Chris Buescher is going to be calling in here in just a moment or two, followed up by Harrison Rhodes, and then followed up hopefully by Burt Myers after that. Bert's wife had a little accident, so...
Or somebody.
Let's talk racing.
Hey, it's Chris Buescher. How's it going?
Good, Chris. How you doing tonight?
Oh, hanging in there.
I heard you got a busy night tonight.
What's that?
I heard you had a little bit of a busy night tonight.
Yeah, we're staying busy. It's been a busy day.
He's where?
It's good though. It's good though.
I couldn't understand what he said.
What?
Where is he?
Oh, where are you at, Chris? Al said.
I'm out here in Mooresville at the house.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's Al Pearce, and we also got Colin Brown with us here tonight.
I didn't know if he was out testing somewhere or racing, shaking down cars somewhere.
Okay.
No, not at the moment. We're getting ready to head to Bristol on Friday.
Yeah, that's a a 2-day show for you guys? Y'all go in on Friday and race on Saturday?
Yeah, for the Xfinity, but we're also running the 34 Cup car this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool.
So I'm going to be around all weekend.
Okay. Have you done a double at Bristol? Have you ever done 800 laps there one weekend?
No, I have not.
How did you say it like that?
It's going to be exhausting, no doubt, but we're looking forward to it. I mean, I think it'll be a good time.
In a situation like that, will you, and I ask a lot of drivers the same question, will you go to other drivers who have done the double and ask them, what do you do, how do you get ready? Do you kind of pick anybody's brain about how you prepare for Saturday and then what you do on Saturday night to prepare for Sunday? Or do you just dive in there and just go through it the way it is?
I think we're pretty much going to dive in. I mean, I think we have a pretty good idea. You know, obviously hydration is going to be the key, and eating right for the week leading up. And we've been trying to do as good as possible, knowing how much this track will wear you out and how physically demanding it is. So, you know, I think we should have a pretty good idea of it when we roll into Bristol Friday. What we need to do. We'll try and bounce some ideas off some other drivers when it comes time to on-track activity and what needs to be done to pass and be patient and things of that nature.
Hey Chris, Colin Brown, local legend car driver here in Virginia. I saw where you've ran Legends before, and what did you learn from Legends as far as racing skills that transfer over into other forms of racing?
I think the Legends car is a great foundation for any kind of racing, and I think it's just because of the amount of power, the little amount of weight, and the little grip that those tires have. I think it's been a great learning tool for me along the way, and I ran it for several years, just trying to get a good feel before we moved up to the next level. And once we got comfortable there, we were really able to move up to the ARCA series and go out and run really well. So there's a lot of things that it prepares you for that even cars such as the late model can't.
Now, legend cars in this area of Virginia, they run at Langley Speedway, they run at Southside, I guess they run at Shenandoah.
Mm-hmm.
They run at South Boston?
I think that's like a once-a-year deal.
Okay. Well, now, when you were coming up in legend cars, you're from Texas, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you race mostly down there in legend cars, or did you get legend cars when you moved up to North Carolina?
I've raced legend cars everywhere. I've been all the way out to the West Coast, to Pennsylvania, to the Midwest, to Florida. We've raced everywhere. And, you know, South Boston we've run that quite a bit, and Shenandoah Valley. We've been all over the country, seems like, and you know, it's a good traveling series where the rules are the same no matter where you go, which makes it a nice tool. You're not having to spend a bunch of money every time you go to a new track to try and conform to their rules. So I think that's one of the things that makes it so appealing to racers, you know, just getting started and on a budget.
Do you still run legend cars at all, or are you pretty much gone beyond that?
I don't run them anymore, just because we put our focus on the NASCAR side of things now. But you know, I don't see any reason why we wouldn't be able to dive back into it just to get a little bit extra seat time. It really is that good of a learning tool.
What's been your favorite track for a legend car?
Probably Wake County. I had a lot of fun at Wake County. One of those places that's a little rough around the edges, but really put on a good show and had a lot of fun there. I was probably 13 years old the last time we went. They didn't run up there a whole lot, but I remember it pretty decent. And I know I had a good time. Probably helps the fact that we won there, so I think that adds to it.
Now, let me ask you about the difference in running an Xfinity race on Saturday and the Cup car on Sunday. I've never driven either series. I've never driven anything hardly, but I need to find out whether a driver can transfer anything from one series to the next. when you get in that car on Sunday afternoon, is there anything that you learned on Saturday that you think will give you a little bit more of an advantage or a bit of a head start?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's tons of things that correspond between the two series now. With as close as they are, with you got your main differences, which is a little bit of horsepower now, not a lot like it used to be. We have a little bit of difference in downforce, and you have the ride height rule. And I'd say beyond that, the cars are pretty similar. You're able to get a pretty good feel of what you're going to have the next day. Now, obviously, I'm running for two different teams, so not everything's as similar as people that do it with the same team. But there's a lot that goes between each series that you're able to apply when you get to the racetrack.
Will you run certain lines on Saturday thinking maybe tomorrow I want to try this same line, or will you experiment Saturday in hopes of being good on Sunday, or do you have to give each team the best you can do that very day and not worry about the other team, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're definitely not experimenting with our Xfinity program. That's our main focus this year is we're going out there in the Xfinity Series to win a championship, and this Cup deal is very temporary. It's a great experience, and it's nice to have the opportunity and the chance to do it, but it's second to the Xfinity Series. So we're not going out there trying anything to try and learn for the Cup day. I mean, a lot of times what you do in the Xfinity race and how the race plays out, you'll learn things that you'll say, man, I can probably apply that to tomorrow's race. But we're not going out there with the goal of trying to do it right from the beginning.
Are the cars that similar, like the Xfinity and the Cup cars? Are they about the same, handling wise and setup wise, right? Like transferring stuff over from one to the next?
You got your setup differences with the ride height rules. That makes a pretty significant change. So a lot of the setup stuff doesn't transfer directly over, but it applies. There are some similarities. There's some things that the Cup guys are able to do that we try and work towards by getting there using other methods. So they're quite a bit different. If you're trying to build off the same build sheet, it won't work.
When did you find out you were going to run the Cup race?
Friday morning before practice, about 3 hours before practice.
No, it was this past weekend. You've known for less than a week now.
Not for Bristol. We've had that one known for.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about Fontana, but Bristol we've known for a couple of weeks now that we're going to do it. 2 weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks. Everything's been a little bit just play by ear, but trying to plan out a little bit ahead of time and have some things ready now that we know the situation, and we're not always in such a rush when we get to the racetrack.
Now, when will you be in the Cup car again? Has that been determined?
After Bristol will be Talladega.
Oh, okay. Now that's still David Reagan's ride when he comes back. Is that correct? Am I correct in that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I know today they had a press conference with Kyle Busch, and he absolutely refused to give any sort of speculation on when he would be back. So obviously, if he'll be out much longer, David Reagan will be out of that car for a while. So there may be more opportunities for you down the road. Is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, there's always the possibility. Obviously with Kyle's condition, it's very, very in the moment. So, we'll have to wait and see how everything plays out and what David's situation looks like, and when Kyle's back and David's back, obviously it'll have run its course. But really we're kind of the last one to hear the information. There's a lot of things going on right now that are going to affect our plans going forward here these next few weeks or even months.
But it's sort of an audition for you, isn't it? I mean, do you look at it as an audition?
Not necessarily. It's good experience is what it is. We're going out there it's a car that is in a good place in points that the group has done a very nice job with over there. And they basically told me, you know what, we're going out here to have fun, to race, to learn, and it's nothing beyond that. You know, we're trying to keep this thing up in points, run good, and you know that's nice to know when you go to the racetrack that they're all trying to race. You don't have a lot of pressure, just go out there and ride, and just for a points day.
So who will be in the car at Richmond? Do you have any idea?
I do not know at this point.
Okay.
I know they told me at where were we last at Texas that they had two candidates they were working on. They did not specify who.
Okay. Anything else?
Now on Facebook, Chris, I noticed you're running a caption this routine that you're doing with your fans. How's that going for you?
It's been going pretty good. We're starting to get a lot of good feedback on those, and I think everybody's starting to participate a little bit more, and they're getting pretty good. You ought to take a look in depth. They're getting pretty fun.
I have thrown a couple out there myself already after looking at the picture there, and they're now looking at the picture too.
I thought it was pretty good. I don't know who's taking all these pictures all the time, but it makes for a good conversation piece later on.
It still looks like you're straining to try to get out of the car or into the car, one or the other.
I can't tell if I was getting in or out at the time, and that's just perfect timing. But they got me pretty good. I'll give them that.
Oh goodness. Well, let us go ahead and let you get going because they had told me that you had to hurry up and get off here by 7:30 because you got something else you got to get going to.
Yeah, we're going right into the next one, so gonna hang up and make another phone call.
All right, Chris. I'll talk to you again later on.
Appreciate it. Thank you. See you.
Probably see you down at Richmond.
What's that?
You're going to be at Richmond, right?
We'll be there.
All right. Well, we'll probably run into you there again.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
That's it. Good talking to you.
Take it easy. Bye.
We've got you trained now. Who said you can't train race drivers?
Well, what can you train them to do that? You can train dogs too, but that doesn't mean you train for anything important.
Isn't he so nice to you over there?
Oh yeah.
You only pick on the people you like. You never boo a bum.
Oh God.
So Chris's brother is James Buescher.
I believe so.
Yeah, who won? Did he win the nationwide title a couple of Rookie of the Year? He was nationwide Rookie of the Year a couple of years
Who does
ago.
he race for?
I think that's right.
James, I don't know who he's racing for now, but it's like he's...
Well, that's he's driving Cup nationwide for Roush.
Who James does?
Yeah. Oh, James, I don't know James. Chris, I know. James used to be also with Roush. And I know at one time, I think Roush had both
Next
of them.
one. Let's talk racing.
Hey, this is Harrison Rhodes. How's it going?
Pretty good, Harrison. How you doing tonight?
Doing well.
Where are you hiding out at tonight?
What's that?
Where are you hiding at tonight?
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, here at NC State right now.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's just part of the weekly duties there.
Oh, yeah.
So you're a Wolfpack guy, huh?
I am.
Who's the most famous NC State basketball player of all time?
You know, I could not tell you.
Oh, come on.
I'm terrible at sports history.
You never heard of David Thompson?
I have heard of the name.
He's the greatest state basketball player ever, along with Lenny Shavlik and maybe Tom Burleson. And the best NC State football player of all time is probably Phillip Rivers, who plays for San Diego.
I'll take your word for it.
Believe me, you trust me on that.
And Harrison, don't feel bad. I wouldn't know him either.
Well, and Harrison may be the best race car driver to come out of NC State.
There you go.
Maybe.
Although I think Johnny Andretti's kid goes there. I think
he actually graduated.
Oh, Jared's graduated? Okay. Jared Andretti graduated. He's running a lot of open wheel stuff. I'm surprised that John hadn't put his kid in a stock car yet.
I know.
But he's strictly open wheel right now.
Huh.
So what are your weekend plans like coming up?
Bristol this weekend, so I'm going to go up Friday morning. We're going to go up early, me and the team. So we'll practice that day and then qualify and race on Saturday.
Okay, it's 300 laps.
300 laps.
Are you ready for that? Are you physically ready? Okay.
Oh yeah, I've never been to Bristol. I've never even been to the racetrack, just seen it. So
you've never seen the place? Oh my God.
Well, I've seen pictures and videos and stuff. I've never been there. So it'll be a cool experience. I've done Dover a couple times, so I hear it's pretty close to that. So I think we'll be okay.
Well, let me give you some advice. Once you can only get into the racetrack one way. That's over in turn 3. They've either got a crossover gate that they open and let you walk down the track, or they've got a tunnel that lets you go under the track. I suggest you walk down it if you can. If you get there at a time when the racetrack is not hot, and you can walk down the track at the crossover gate, walk down it and stop about halfway down and look to your right and look to your left and think about going by that spot 300 times. You may want to turn around and go back home. it will, when you look, I'm serious, when you look to the right and you see the banking that you got to go around 300 times, you'll wake up right quick.
No, I'm sure.
So you'll have
it's funny though, even when we do driver introductions and we'll drive a truck around the track and we're waving at everybody, the track looks completely different, like going slow and just driving around it, than it does being in a car going around it. It's a completely different look.
Oh yeah, it's like being in a batting cage against a machine versus being a batting cage against Justin Verlander or somebody. Yeah, it does look a little bit different. Jump in there, son. Ask him a question or two.
Hey, Harrison, this is Colin, local Legend car driver here in Virginia. I saw you used to race Legends. What was it that you picked up on from Legend cars that ended up transferring over to other series?
Well, okay, I started in quarter midgets, and then I did that for 4 years, and then I went to Legends. And really, just Legends have so much horsepower for how small a wheelbase are. So when I drove them, it seemed like you were always driving them on edge. If you weren't turning right coming out of corners, then you usually weren't going fast enough. So back when I was doing Legend cars, it was me and Daniel Emmerich on the same team for Dan Snyder, and man, it just seemed like the harder you drive them things into the corner and the quicker you get back to the gas, the better off you'd be. Now that was on some of the bigger tracks. Your quarter miles and stuff required a little bit more finesse, but I tell you what, those cars really will teach you car handling and stuff. People say that you kind of need to do the dirt thing, and that that's just kind of a matter of opinion. I've never done dirt ever, but I think the Legend cars teach you a lot about car control, and it just kind of transfers on, to your further ranking ranks. But then once you get to the Xfinity series and stuff like that, where you have to do a radial tire, it's a little bit like starting over. The radial tire is just so much different than everything else.
Now, tell us, where are you from originally? How did you start in racing? Give us a little bit of step-by-step how you got where you are.
Okay. I grew up in High Point, North Carolina. It's about an hour and a half from Charlotte.
Yeah.
And my dad is friends with Bobby Labonte, and me and Bobby's son, Tyler, went to school together.
Oh, okay.
So they invited me to a race. It was actually in Florida, and we were down in Disney World or something at the time. So I went over and we watched them race, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And so we kept talking about it, and I don't remember exactly the conversations, but Bobby had a shop at the time, and he had like a little quarter midget track out in front. So they let me drive the car, and long story short, we ended up getting one, and I ran my first race out of their trailer in Columbus, Ohio, in like November, so at an indoor race. And then Bobby built the NCQMA track in Salisbury, and I did that for 4 years. And then I did the legend cars like we were talking about. After that, I ran my first season of late model stock cars at Caraway and got Rookie of the Year there. And then we decided to run, we kind of ran, for the next 2 years, we kind of ran just a little bit of everything. We ran the UARA series, we did Motor Mile Speedway, South Boston, Hickory, just a bunch of different tracks, and kind of gaining some more experience doing that stuff. Then I got the opportunity from Jeff Spraker to run a K&N car, and I did my first race at Bowman Gray Stadium, and finished fourth that race. That was a wild event. I had actually come from a lap down and just missed all the wrecks by going in the grass, and ended up fourth. So that went well, and then I got the opportunity to run the Nationwide Series at the time with Rick Ware, and did 2 years part-time, 7 races each year, and then I got the full-time ride with Mr. Davis, Johnny Davis Motorsports this year, and just make the most out of it.
Okay, so when the K&N race you ran, was it just a one-time deal, or did you run more than just a one-time?
Yeah, I guess I didn't explain that. I think I've run a total of like 7 or 8 K&N races over 2 years' time.
Yeah, have you been to Langley? Have you come up here and raced up here yet?
I have. I did the K&N race at Langley. And I ran legend cars there.
Oh, okay. What do you think of the place? Because it's like 4 miles from where we sit.
Yeah, it's a unique racetrack. It's one you never stop turning. And the 1 and 2 is kind of weird your first time there. You got to make sure you get your line right and get your throttle points and stuff so you don't push tight off too. I remember it's almost like you're turning twice. Man, it's a pretty cool place. It's kind of flat and you keep your momentum up, but a little different than what we're doing now.
The legend is, or the local legend is, that Bruton Smith designed Langley. Came up here in the late 50s, early 60s. At one time, Langley was a 1 mile dirt track where they ran horses and cars. And at some point in time in the early 60s, the property owner wanted to make it smaller, so he made it almost a half-mile track. And then the next owner asked Bruton Smith to come up from Charlotte and design basically what is there now. So Bruton Smith got his fingerprints on Langley, and yeah, it's still pretty popular. They run, the Southern Modifieds were here last weekend, and K&N's coming up in June or July, I think, and then the Southern Mods come back again late in the year. So they've been racing out there for 65 years and had a pretty good program going. Yeah,
it's a neat facility. I didn't know that about Mr. Smith designing that. That's pretty cool.
Well, that's what they say. Now, we don't know if that's true or not. And unfortunately, Bruton's quite elderly now, and I don't know that Bruton would even remember whether he came up here. But you know, it's a good story. You know,
yeah.
If there's nobody here to disprove it, it's got to be true.
Nobody told you you're wrong yet. So
exactly.
Going with it. Huh?
You got another question?
I got a question. What are you studying in college, and how do you balance college and racing?
Yeah, I'm a business major here at NC State in Raleigh, North Carolina. And well, you know, I kind of always had to balance the racing and school thing when I was in high school and doing late models and the K&N series and stuff. And it's just kind of a little bit harder than doing that. I mean, my classes are Monday through Wednesday here, Monday through Thursday, sorry, and I hardly ever make my Thursday one because we're traveling and stuff. But I just kind of have a deal where I've talked to all my teachers, to my advisors. I've actually gotten to know the chancellor of the school and the provost, stuff like that. So really just kind of communicating to the people that are in charge of stuff what I'm doing, and they've been really willing to work with me. As far as the workload goes, it's just kind of one of those things where my Monday and Tuesdays are usually packed. I mean, absolutely packed. I gotta have the class thing, and then I'll come back and try to do my homework for the rest of the week so that I don't have to worry about it when I get to the racetrack. I do that. I have a couple online classes that I do that kind of make it a little easier to not have to go to my classes and stuff just because it's all online. You know, but it can be done. You know, I feel like I'm the only person really doing the full-time college thing and the driving thing right now. I'd really encourage more people to do it, especially with racing not necessarily having a ton of job security unless you're maybe a bigger name driver. But for somebody like me, you know, definitely want to make it as a race car driver. But really, I use my business degree more and more every day when it comes to trying to sell sponsorship and going into these meetings and knowing what I'm talking about, be able to speak the lingo and stuff like that. So, you know, I feel like knowledge is power, and you know, if I can be the best I can be, that's what I'm gonna do. So that's kind of my outlook on it.
I think Colin is asking. He didn't want to say this, but I'll tell it for him. He will be a college freshman next year, and will try to balance racing and being a full-time student. That's why he was kind of asking how you did it. So
yeah, well, I mean,
so
really
you actually yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, one of the biggest things you can do is find out, you know, talk to your advisors and your teacher and make sure they know what you're doing. And really sit down and tell them what your goals are and what you need to miss and stuff. So make sure and tell them before rather than after, and they'll usually be more willing to work with you on stuff.
So you actually go to class and study. You're actually a student athlete in the true sense of the word.
I don't have the actual athletic status as of now.
Well,
that's in the works, so I can get early registration, and I'll actually have athletic perks as far as scheduling and stuff goes. But yes, I'm essentially a student athlete.
I mean, you jokingly said earlier you don't keep up with sports history a whole lot. State had a pretty good basketball team this year. They made a great run in the tournament. They beat Villanova.
Yeah.
State's best player, a kid named Cat Barber, is from here in Hampton. He played high school ball maybe 4 or 5 miles from here. So this area is a big hotbed of State fans, because we've got obviously a gigantic shipyard here on the peninsula, and State graduates come up here and work in the shipyard literally by the thousands and thousands. So, but you got to bone up on your State history. You got to know about David Thompson and Monty Tao and how they beat UCLA back 30 years ago. You got to learn about Phillip Rivers, and you got to get better about that kind of stuff.
I know. Right. Maybe if I just had a little more time throughout the week.
Yeah.
Time? What's that?
As far as on the computer goes, I'm on that thing enough. I like to get off it whenever I can. You know, figure out the history stuff by you telling me or something. So
you're from High Point, so you decided you did not want to be a furniture builder your whole life.
No, well, you know, High Point, the furniture capital of the world, and it used to be a lot bigger industry than it is now. Now that everything's moved overseas, they still have the furniture markets and stuff, but the industry and manufacturing doesn't really take place there anymore. There's a lot of empty buildings. But my dad and my family, both my uncles and my dad, are actually involved with Chick-fil-A. They own stores in North Carolina.
Oh, they're really? Okay.
Yeah, so my dad has 2 stores. My uncle in Mooresville, North Carolina, has one, and my other uncle in Knoxville, Tennessee, has 3. So got Chick-fil-A running through the veins there.
There you go.
Well, you'll be impressed to know that I know Dan Cathy very well. I seriously do.
I do as well. He's a great man.
No, I seriously do. And I know Dan, his son Ross, his son Andrew, his wife's name is Rhonda, and I have been to Truett Cathy's home for dinner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why. Let me just give you a short version. I do the Kyle Petty motorcycle ride every year.
Oh yeah.
I've done all 20 of them. I'm getting ready to do 21 in about 2 weeks. One year when Chick-fil-A sponsored the ride, we went through Atlanta, we went to the world headquarters, and we went out to Truett Cathy's home in Peachtree City, I think it is, and we had, all the riders had dinner with Mr. Cathy and his wife at the home place. So Dan and I and Truett are good buddies. If you need anything, let me know. I'll put in a good word for you. Like sponsorship, why not? I mean, why not Chick-fil-A sponsorship?
Yeah, we are trying that. They were actually on our car in Atlanta. So, you know, that's kind of some stuff maybe we're looking for in the future. It's nothing that's going to happen overnight. So, I don't know, just trying to knock on the right doors and see what we can get going there. Dan has been very, very, very supportive of what I've done now and in the past, and he stays up to date on what I'm doing, and we talk to him a fair amount. So he's been, you know, real supportive of what I'm doing. So, you know, maybe it'll pay off, and maybe Chick-fil-A will decide to do something in the future. That'd be a dream come true. But if not, you know, we'll keep pushing for some other things if we can. You know, can't put all our eggs in one basket.
Yeah, I think Chick-fil-A sponsored the charity ride, I believe, for about 5 years. And Dan rode, and his wife rode, and his son Bubba and Ross and Andrew all rode. So all the charity riders got to know them pretty well. And obviously we stopped a lot across country Chick-fil-A's, which was fine. Everybody was thrilled to death.
Yeah,
so,
Chick-fil-A's a good sandwich.
They're great. I love them. That's where I go all the time.
Unless there's an In-N-Out burger nearby.
Well, if there's an In-N-Out burger, then yeah, that's a different deal. But Chick-fil-A by far is head and shoulders above anybody else with customer service, friendliness, cleanliness, food, intelligent front desk staff, the whole deal. So there you go.
They've definitely done a great job.
All right, why don't you bring a bunch of Chick-fil-A coupons with you to Bristol? I'll swing over and say hello.
I know.
All right. We're just kidding you. Well, not really, but you know.
That's Al's the
hook you guys up.
Al's always the one that has to know what's going on with the food wherever he's at.
Well, I bet you Harrison knows there's a great hot dog place in Winston-Salem called Pullian's. You ever heard of that?
Yeah, I do not, actually.
Oh, that was Bill Francis' favorite place.
What's it called again? Say it.
Pullian, P-U-L-L-I-A-N. It's a hot dog.
I've never eaten there.
Yeah, the Wood brothers swear by it. Bill France used to go there. Every time the NASCAR circuit came to Martinsville, he would send a driver down from Martinsville, go down 220, and then cut over to Winston-Salem, or 168, and go to Pullian's and buy him a dozen or so hot dogs for the weekend. He would not eat Martinsville hot dogs. He'd eat them from Winston-Salem. So, anyway.
How do you like working with JD Motorsports?
You know, it's been awesome. You know, it's great. This is my first full season in the Xfinity Series, so really to have a place I can call home and be in the same car every weekend and have a number that's mine is really, you know, special, and I can't thank Mr. Davis enough for giving me the opportunity, especially since I haven't been to so many of these tracks. It's really been a dream come true so far. And we've had some real good success so far this year in what we're in, and we've been building on it with my crew chief, Todd Myers. So, you know, we're figuring new things out every week that we can improve on, and we're getting our setups better, and I'm getting better. So, you know, I'm hoping to be knocking on some top 20s here in the near future.
Cool. Now, you're doing something with Fox Sports I also heard about.
I did. The past 2 days, Fox Sports was with me. We went to the JD Motorsports shop in Gaffney, South Carolina, and filmed me working around there and doing some stuff I usually do when I'm down at the shop. And then yesterday, they were here with me at NC State, filming me here at my apartment, and they filmed me in my class, and then going to the gym and doing some of the stuff I'll do on a day-to-day basis. And that's actually going to air this weekend at the Bristol pre-race show.
Cool.
Now, which Fox person was with you? Which of their on-camera talents was did most of the stuff with you?
The producer that was with me, his name was Justin, and the producer that I guess he reports to, her name is Lindsay.
Oh yeah, I think Lindsay Zarniak. Is Is that right?
I can't remember.
I think I know her. Okay, good.
Look it up.
Good. All right.
But yeah, it'll be neat. That was real nice of them to do that. And you know, they're kind of getting a story on me, kind of being racing full time as well as being in school full time. So that separates a little bit me from a little bit from some of the other drivers. So they thought that'd be neat and to feature that on the show this weekend. So that would be really cool.
I noticed on your driving uniform on Facebook you got NC State University on there. Is that a freebie shout out for those guys?
You know, that was something, they did an article on me when I did Daytona last year about me driving and going to school there and stuff. And I kind of threw the idea by them about getting me a suit, and then they can have it branded and stuff. So it took a little bit to find the right people to get to do it. But here, when I told them that I had the full-time ride this year, and we kind of found the right people to talk to, and they jumped all over it. So they actually they bought me the suit, and it's got NC State all over it. And then after they did that, they wanted to do my helmet, so they did my helmet. They painted my helmet too, so it's all branded. It's got a wolf on the back, so it's pretty cool. So yeah, I mean they supported me in ways that they can right now. We're working on some stuff here in the future that hopefully will come to fruition, and we'll see where that goes.
So when are we going to see you in a Flex Seal commercial?
Yeah, we're working on that. I'll actually have Flex Seal on my car here this weekend at Bristol. They are sponsoring me, and they were really excited about the Fox Sports shoot and everything, getting some publicity there. But I know I need to get in the commercial. We were at the Flex Seal booth, me and Ross, the other weekend, so I got to meet Phil Swift, owner of the company, his kids. They were doing some stuff over at the booth. So I actually haven't met the Phil Swift, the guy who's in all the commercials and stuff yet. So maybe when I see him, we can talk some stuff, see if we can get me in some. That'd be kind of cool.
Before we go, I got two quick things I want to run by you. Now, as a State fan, you know...
Uh-oh.
No, that's a serious question.
Okay.
State was one of 3 teams that beat Duke this year during the regular season. When Duke won it all last Monday, a week ago, were you sort of kind of halfway happy that a team right there in the Triad had won it, or in the Triangle had won it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, really, if it's not my team, then I at least want someone in the ACC to win it.
Yeah, okay, good.
Just so we got that bragging rights. But, man, I tell you, that was an amazing game. That was a good game to watch. But, yeah, I think NC State definitely doesn't have anything to hang their heads about this year. They played very well and continually got better throughout the season. There a couple times, I was at a couple of the games this year, and they seemed to throw it away there in about the last 2 minutes, but they seem to get better about that, and they're being a little more explosive in those last couple minutes. So it is cool to say we beat the overall champions. So that's something we can.
And my last question is this. Having never seen Bristol, having never raced there, who will you go to on Friday? Who will you talk to? What drivers will go to and ask for advice on how to get around that place?
Well, you know, I got 2 guys on my team that have a lot of experience at pretty much all these racetracks we've been, Ross Chastain, Landon Castle. So I really usually try to get their input before I go into the track for the first time. So I'll talk to them and get some tips and stuff. And then my first session, you know, I'll go out there and feel it out. And I usually, if I have any questions about the line or anything like that, then I'll go talk to them again, or I'll talk to my spotter. So not necessarily a certain person I go to talk to each week. I watch a lot of video footage and stuff like that just to get a good idea of what I'm getting myself into. But, you know, this is a sport where there's not a whole lot of practice time involved as far as getting your skills toned and stuff like that, going to new places. It's kind of an adapt quick and learn fast sport. So I've gotten pretty decent at doing that.
Well, remember what I told you. When you walk down the banking, don't go under the tunnel. Try to walk down the crossover gate. When you get down there, halfway down, stop and look to your right and left, and just imagine what you're about to go through.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be a blast.
Well, it will be, but it'll get your attention pretty quickly, I'm sure.
Yeah,
So.
I'm sure it will. It'll be fun to remember there. It'll be cool.
All right, good luck to you this weekend.
Yeah, good luck.
And, hopefully, well, I'll stop by and visit with him and see if he's got a.
You're gonna be looking for Chick-fil-A.
He's got a Chick-fil-A coupon or two.
Hey, take and put them in seal them all up with Flex Seal and then give them to him.
Yeah, there you go.
And he may not realize that Daniel Hemrick, the young man he used to race legend cars with, his uncle, whose name was Dickie Hemrick, was one of the best basketball players of all time at Wake Forest.
I did not know that either.
Dickie Hemrick played at Wake Forest and played in the NBA with the Celtics. Dickie Hemrick may still be in the top 5 all time in ACC scoring. That's how great he was. He was so much better than everybody else. He played with Billy Packer and some other guys back when Bones McKinney was coaching, before your parents were probably born, but I remember him. But if you ever see Daniel Hemrick, ask him about his Uncle Dickie and what a great basketball player he was. He'll fill you in.
All right, I'll have to do that.
All right, thanks so much for calling in.
Yeah. Good talking to you.
Hope we didn't ruin your evening.
No, definitely. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right, thanks so much.
I'm gonna probably
Anybody
give you-
wants to keep up with what we're doing, all my social media, the name's just at Harrison Rhodes on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. So
Okay.
that's my little plug for the end.
I'll probably give
Thank
you
you again for having me on the show and everything.
Thank you.
all right. I'll talk to you later, Harrison.
Thank you so much. All right, bye.
All right, bye.
You know, almost every athlete in the world whose last name is Rhodes has a nickname. You know what that nickname is?
Rocky,
Dusty.
Dusty Rhodes.
It was, no, I'm
Dusty
serious.
Rhodes.
There was a great New York Giants baseball player who was a World Series hero named Dusty Rhodes. I mean, almost everybody who's an athlete is always called Dusty, as opposed to paved or, you know, pockmarked or.
Yeah, I've heard the name before used, Dusty Rhodes.
Oh yeah.
He thinks
Well,
that there was a
yeah.
wrestler or something. WWE.
Same spelling as his, but Dusty was his first name. All right, so we don't get Burt Myers, so we get to go to dinner 2 minutes early.
Oh, we're down to 1 minute early.
All right, well, we'll go 1 minute early then.
All right. Anything else on what you're expecting to happen at Bristol, other than a lot of
wrecks.
They're supposed to rain on Sunday, almost 100% rain Sunday, but that's the Weather Channel. What do they know?
Usually check it the day of.
Yeah.
You go there and do like this. Okay, it's not raining.
Yeah.
Stick your hand out.
Practice is underway.
Kyle Busch did not sound today like he'd be back anytime soon.
After Daytona.
He did not sound. I can't imagine he's done for the year.
I was about to say, you didn't think he's coming back at least maybe in Daytona, like fall race at Daytona?
They mentioned Daytona in July, and he said, just the doctors just don't know.
They don't know either. Because they always risk.
See, that's only, when you say the summer race in July, that's only 2 months away.
Yeah.
Because we're almost into May, May, June, and then it's July 4th.
Right there.
So
That's almost still too soon.
yeah, 2 months. And you should go online or go read the transcript of his description of that wreck. It takes him a half an hour to describe it, or 15 minutes to describe it.
They think
And he
they had
remembers-
that on the radio show.
He remembers everything in just infinite detail,
Oh, yeah, he said-
exactly what was happening, what he was thinking. Maybe I should do this. No, if I do this, you
So
know.
he felt the motor come back at him. And
Yeah.
he went back
Oh,
in the
yeah.
motor.
Hit the steering wheel.
He remembers everything about it.
Sounds like a violent hit.
Oh, it was awful. Worst he'd ever had by far. He
Oh, I
said.
bet.
Okay, Raj.
All right. We'll catch everybody next week on Let's Talk Racing. Time for Al to not go to an In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah, I wish.